Welcome guys, we are live playing on Pokerstars. Today focus is going to be the mid stage. As you can see, we're somewhat semi-deep in a couple of tournaments, and today is the day of the main event of the Bounty Builder series. So quite some Bounty Builder tournaments. Unfortunately, I busted already 4 bullets, so I only have this low stakes Bounty Builder tournament. Actually, I can also swap because we don't have that many bounty tournaments here, and as far as I know, a lot of people are really into bounty tournaments. So maybe we're gonna here we have a really sweet stack. Maybe we keep this one. Yeah, I'm from the second table. If there's an interesting hand here, maybe we're gonna play this hand here. Just have to make sure I'm not misclicking anything. Gonna 3-bet the queen 10 suited, pretty standard. And we're just gonna shove either. My shoving range would be 7s plus, probably. I'm gonna check here my queen 10. We could certainly bet, but stack the pot ratio is 1 to 3. We also want him to have a few bluffs. I'm gonna bet small here, my entire range on this board. Yeah, that's it for this hand. 6-5 suited, easy fold. I'm gonna bet small here on the turn. I think he will, of course, pick up a lot of Jack X hands, which are not going to bet, which we for sure have value. And on some rivers we could, this is not the river we were hoping for. I'm going to check decide. If he bets small, we might go for a check jam, but I think we have a ton of short of value here. He has ace jack in spades. So yeah, 7s is my bottom here, but the thing is that we're close to the money, and I think the guy, he covers a couple of stacks. He will be opening quite wide. I mean, ace queen of course as well. But it's like 30 to go to the money. It's definitely close, but my range would be 7s plus and better. We only have 15 bigs, and so yeah, that's it for this Sunday million. Didn't manage to win the flip there. And now we can play this Bounty Builder tournament. Of course, this was my plan. And the other big stack on the table was also rather tight passive, so might even be rejamming 6s in the spot, but 7s I think it's mandatory, but yeah, for sure it's close. 8s we're gonna rejam all day long there. 5s I'm gonna 3-bet. We can also just jam actually. He has less than 40 bigs. I mean, it's already 20k in the middle. In these spots, 30, 40 bigs, pocket pairs, you can always profitably jam. I mean, it's not 40 bigs. It's like 35 bigs. So I'm just going to rejam here. You can also flat, but the problem is if you flat too many hands, then your flatting range becomes really weak, and it's very easy for the big blind to also then shove a lot of hands himself or to squeeze a lot of hands. I'm gonna jam the queen 10 off here against this 13 big blind stack. This is the party 1k today, and we're 65 left and 16 to the money. Let's see, we are 41st in chips. So we definitely have to do something. Flopping a sweet set here. It's one of these boards where you definitely also want to have a big betting range with hands like king, queen, king and clubs, or queen 8 with queen and clubs, where you can polarize your range on the flop, and then also when the club gets there, hands you want to triple barrel bluff, especially not blocking any jack, any 9, any 2 pairs on this board, like jack 9. And he folds. Against the min raise, I would defend against the 2.5x. I'm folding queen 10 off. He only has 40 bigs. By the way, as you can see, I have a new HUD. I switched from Hold'em Manager 2 to Hand to Note. I was just so sick of Hold'em Manager 2's performance, and yeah, I recently, well, that's 7 is always coming. Yeah, I was just super sick of Hold'em Manager 2. It's so annoying. I mean, it's still pretty decent, but it's just lagging so hard and still has so many bugs, and Hand to Note is just runs so smooth, and the performance is so insanely good, and the prom is so stable. So I tested it. Of course, when you move to a new software at the beginning, it's always, there's a little bit of a transition time, since you need to get used to it, you need to get into it, and yeah, I'm just using a standard head HUD here, and so far I am not really able to determine what is what and where do I have to look to find a spot. So now I'm just trying to get used to the software, and then also trying to improve my HUD. So you probably, over the course of the next weeks, you will see my HUD changing, and I hope I will also get used to it from time to time. It's a recreational player. I think we can second barrel a lot of turns against better ace highs and make him fold his under pairs. I'm only afraid of a few king queen floats. No, he shouldn't have that many king x in his range. Second barrel against all under pairs. Also gonna fire the river. I'm just gonna shove the river. If he doesn't have a king, I think it's gonna be an extremely nasty spot for him. Of course, it's a little bit out of line. 3 bets, he calls. Of course, we go broke. And he has also all the ace queen, ace 10 hands he's calling flop and turn, which we have auto folds against. And now we're just gonna, he's king unfortunately, but there's nothing we can do. Pretty standard here. 5s. He's opening with 20 bigs. We're not so deep anymore. I'm just gonna fold. On the button I might peel, but in the last second. Yeah, I think it's a mandatory call down. I think ace jack is a hand that should call down quite a lot. I mean, you have to go with it. And if he folds even ace jack, I mean, the spot is just printing, because he plays call, fold all jack eggs, all ace queens, all ace tens, and he might even have hands like ace 9 clubs he's floating the flop with, and then it's just printing money for us. And yeah, he made a good call, so he deserves the chips. Queen 10, we have an easy call here. Ace 9 suited, we're definitely gonna bet. Let's click. Queen 10 is a little bit too weak. And we have to re-enter in the 2K. 6-5 suited, I'm gonna raise. This guy was only 3-bet 1.2. I'm not afraid that he's going to rejam a lot of hands here. It's a turn card where you will definitely have a ton of check jams, like straights or turn 2 pairs. And I don't want to bet fold my hand. Of course, this river really sucks. And if I have, let's say, 8-7 or 10-9 in hearts or Jack-10, I would be bluffing the river. But now, like, we block the hands, we want to make him fold. Yeah. I don't mind betting the turn. I'm going to 3-bet here, the pocket queens against black. I have to figure out which, is this my HUD? No, yes. So this is me and this is my opponent. It's at least a call. I'm going to 3-bet here. Here we can easily shove. I think I'm gonna bet big. I really don't wanna check call with this hand. But this is a turn where, since we have so many 8x, I want to prefer to have a really big betting range. And if they call, I'm done with the hand. Because they probably should be calling that many weak flush draws, maybe with a gutter or like a king high flush draw. Maybe we get a timing tail out of him. I think on this card I'm gonna jam. I think Queen Jack frequently bets the flop, 6-7 bets the flop, 6-7 now gets there. I think we will get a lot of credit here. Gonna play call fold against small blind and call against button. I'm gonna jam the river. He could have some aces for sure. I think people in general will have a few club X combos, like they're coming to the river with, and they're having those snap folds in their range is very beneficial for my hand here. And even if he has a hand like ace deuce, I mean, I have 8-6 off and king 8 off and queen 8 off. All these hands I'm completing from the small blind, so I have a shit ton of trips in the spot and a shit ton of straights. I can play the same way, especially if I have a hand like queen jack or 6-7 that consists of a club, and then I can continue bluffing on a club river. So yeah, I think 10 and what was it? 8, 9. Yeah, I think 10 and 7 are mandatory cards. We have to continue bluffing. On other blanks, yeah. Actually, 4 deuce is one of the nut combos we want to bluff with. I think I would have then convinced me in bluffing the river, regardless of the outcome. Hijack and button, they are both a little bit more call happy, so I want to have more frequently a hand I can continue against the 3-bet, or let's say that has a little bit more equity. Because I think not only of course against 3-bets, but also when they call. I'm just gonna shove here the king queen suited. I think it's going close to the bubble, 9 to go, but we're not by far not safe in the money, so I'm just gonna reshove here. Probably be reshoving very, very wide here. So now, of course, we need to take a closer look. I actually don't mind mixing in a 3-bet here with 9-7 suited, which I'm going to do actually. Does it make sense to flat call here? Yeah. We're very, very deep with him. And sometimes against EP opens from EP, you want to flat with ace king off occasionally. Big blind has a shoving stack, small blind has a shoving stack. I'm gonna start with a bet here, especially with the backdoor flush draw. And it's also very nice if someone squeezes and he folds, or someone squeezes, he calls, we can just jam and there's a ton of dead money in the middle. King 5 here, I should probably be bluffing with this combo. Easy open with queens. Not gonna get involved here with the king jack unless we're gonna improve on the turn. Don't expect that many rejams from the blinds because my opening range is quite tight, so I'm just gonna jam here of 20 bigs. There's a ton of dead money in the middle, almost half of my stack. I mean 40% of my stack. Gonna check the turn. It's going to be a nasty bluff catcher hand actually on the river. Sucks blocking all the 7-8s and 7-9s, and gonna call here with a backdoor flush draw. Nice hand to start betting on the turn. Gonna start betting bigger. I'm gonna check back. And on a spade river, we would of course bet you very big. He's not having that many king deuce off and jack deuce off. He's not having ace king or kings, so probably not even jacks. So it's a board where we have a huge range and nut advantage. So we should also have some hands that want to bet big on the flop. Easy jam here with ace queen off. Oh, there's a bounty side event, a 1k turbo. Interesting, okay. Oh, jack 9 suited. I'm gonna re-enter. Which is probably not very smart. Well, let's do it like this. So I'm gonna play more tables today, so I know some of you guys want me to play less tables, but also some guys enjoy it when I play more tables because there's more action. So yeah, I try to mix in different formats as much as possible, or different amount of tables. So yeah, if you are not happy with me playing so many tables, then there are plenty of other videos I've uploaded where I play less tables or make reviews. You can pause at any time, you can go back. I think this should not be an issue. Nothing we can do here. Reshoving preflop would have been fine as well, for sure. 5s, we're going to call. Going to check raise the flop. Want to protect my hand. I think I'm gonna get a lot of ace high calls. And I do have, of course, all sets. I would be check raising ace 8 as well. And we have some really decent backdoor equity on the turn as well. That makes a lot of, yeah, ace 9 off. I'm gonna 46, yeah, 6 to the money, so it's not like super crazy bubble factor here. And we're 36, and also we want to come deep and not just cash. I'm gonna check the turn. I would also do it with some sets. Very nasty flop. I think it goes check check very often, and we win this one. Going to bet twice here, trying to make him fold a 4, 5, or 6. And I'm going to... I really don't think he's betting that many... usually I would peel at least once. I mean, he's giving me such a cheap price, but the thing is that stack protection is super important for me here right now. So paying another 20k hurts my stack significantly. No backdoor flush draw, no nothing. Just gonna check back. Less than 30 bigs, we could also rejam suited king here. But big blind versus button, especially against Igor Koganov, who's probably opening a little too wide. I'm just gonna check it down. He should... I'm not a big fan of his open. Okay, he's opening into a short big blind. But he should be very careful opening these suited connectors with his stack. I mean, he has a big bounty, so it can be quite expensive. Didn't see that there's a... I'll rejam here with 8s, of course, as well. Quite close to the money. We have 17 bigs, tons of fold equity. And we're 41st anyway, so we have to do something. This really sucks, of course. I hope it's ace king, maybe ace queen, but I think even ace queen is very, very marginal. It's not that I'm going to be super insanely wide in this spot. Probably pairs, like 5s plus. Yeah. Unfortunately, no flipping skills today. Also busted this one close to the money, but that's part of the game. King 9 off is a decent hand to raise forward with. We shouldn't have that many raise folds, but a hand like ace 9 we're going to raise call, or a hand like king 10 suited for less than 20 bigs and the bounty on our head. Those mono boards you just want to bet between 25 and 33% very, very often, since it's just... If they have a club or let's say an ace or 7, they're going to continue against 25% or 33% anyway. And it's not a board where we have a bunch of value hands. I mean, we only have flushes and ace X, and that's pretty much it. Ace king or like hand like queens or kings without a club is also already a very, very weak hand. Going to check the turn. And we're going to check the river. He has fours. He check raises fours and ace 3-7. I mean, of course, it gets really, really nasty once he check raises, but as you can see, people can do all sorts of weird stuff. Yeah. I mean, he should be at least jamming the river. He has less than pot left. I mean, I'm not going to jam for him that many hands because his range is so polarized, but I have to bluff catch some hands. And what is his plan? Check call. I'm going to squeeze here my ace-6 off. I think it's a good hand. The spot. You don't even need to make it that big. And we can fold against both stacks if they jam. That's very unfortunate. And we're just gonna go for and just gonna fold it. Yeah, so he should be shoving his fours, I think, on the river. Otherwise, he's not gonna get value from anything. I mean, yes, I have, but the board was ace high clubs, so I only have the Broadway flushes, which are king queen, king jack, king 10, maybe king 9 suited, and queen jack, queen 10. So I have like 6-7 flushes, and oh, I misclicked check back, and trizillion of top pairs that are going to have to bluff catch also a decent amount of the time. So yeah, I don't mind if he traps with a stronger holding. Or when he traps with a low flush. Not blocking king high flush draws like king queens or yeah, king queens with one club, which I might be bluffing on the turn river. Against small blind range is always a little different. We want to bet a little tighter range, which means that our betting range is overall a little stronger, since you have to be careful because compared to the big blind, his range is a little stronger. I mean, a little actually significantly stronger. So you should just not auto c-bet every single board, but you should also size it up with your value hands and your bluffs for a decent amount of the time. I'm gonna bet here the turn, of course, also quite large. Definitely gonna bluff the river after he's tanking that long. Oh, you're 100k in the middle, less than 25 bigs. Is there a bubble or anything? Yes, actually there is. I think in this one we're gonna make it in the money. He's 3xing, but suited ace we still have to call. Would be folding ace 9 off to ace deuce off, of course, but suited ace is just too strong. I'm going to check raise. I think a6 is a very decent hand. He's checking the flop back. A 9 would be better, but I think a 9 might be still strong enough to check call. A 7-6, I'm going to check raise the turn and jam the river if he bets. I'm going to check shove this river if he bets his ace. We have a ton of 10x. We would play exactly the same. I would either overbet the river or I would go for a check shove. Unfortunately, he's not betting. Maybe he would have hero called us, and we so we also might have saved some chips here. I'm just gonna reshove. He's has a very big stack. He will go after a couple of bounties here, probably opening ace 2 suited and 9-8 suited, 8-7 suited, these kind of hands. King 6 suited, I'm going to raise forward. We can also limp. I think limp is also decent, actually. These guys are recreational players, so they might not ISO raise insanely wide. This is a decent run out. Couple of backdoors, but it's only 3. Even a 3 connects with their range really well, so it's not a card I'm overly happy. I'm just gonna check it back. If I have a back, would have had a backdoor flush. I would have ace 9 off with my stack size. Pretty standard open from the hijack. It's also a great spot for the small blind. He has a ton of straights. Also for the big blind, they should do a ton of betting on the turn. Also very, very big sizings. Less than 15 bigs ace queen. Oh, I'm just gonna jam. Yeah, way too short. Not much happening here right now. How far is it here to the money actually? 108 from also 30 to the money. Here, okay, the super high roulette still quite far to go. King 5 off, king against the hijack, against the min raise. Pretty standard, pocket tens, we're just gonna jam. And we're gonna start betting. Shouldn't have many 9x in his range. And he has a ton of ace jack, ace king. So we want to bet the turn, and let's see the river. River can be quite interesting. Yeah, we probably have to check and hope he checks his ace-10 or... Wow. That worked out pretty well. What did he have? Ace-10. He might turn it, supposed to turn it into a bluff. I mean, I can't really think of a weaker hand he can have in his range, to be honest. Sevens, we're gonna try to get his bounty. Really bad river. He has all the ace-5s, ace-queens, ace-jacks in his range, so we can't value bet this anymore. Oh, we got a rear hand here. Overcall with the 4s might be close. I don't want to judge it too quick with 2 bounties in play, but I think there will be at least one guy having a bigger bounty, bigger pair, and then it's going to be extremely difficult. I don't think... I would prefer calling a hand like 10-9 suited that has at least somewhat some equity against everything. I'm gonna flat the aces here. I want to do definitely flat hands like Queen Jack suited, King 10 suited. Going for a check raise on the flop. I think now we can bet the turn. And we can raise the river here. And I'm also going to value bet. Am I going to value bet the turn? Oh, 3-way all in. This worked out really well. I was kind of expecting that, to be honest. I think... first, so are we going to value bet here? Yeah, I'm going to value bet small against the 6x and 5x. And here he could have hands like 8x, 9x. He's playing block bet jam river, which he's definitely capable of. He's an excellent player. So aces, like ace is somewhat the strongest hand on the river. I mean, I have a few queen x hands for sure. He should do the same with queen 9, queen 8, but also a hand like 10-9, jack 9 should block bet river, or jack 8 and then jam against the raise, which I think he's going to do a decent amount of the time. Not sure if he's capable of doing it, so that's probably the strategy he's supposed to play in theory, but I think the way he snap jammed, I mean, of course, if he's aware of it, he doesn't need to think about that long, but definitely very interesting spot. I think the river we should always value raise. Maybe jack 9 might not even be in his range. He might also start betting it on the turn quite frequently as a bluff. I'm going to peer here with a gut shot. What did he call? A weaker 9. Yeah, I mean, he has to call it. And we tripled up here with aces. That is, of course, a very decent outcome, I would say. Going to block bet the river. 7x shouldn't be. There's no natural draw with a 7 present. I mean, unless they have pair plus 7. 10-7, but 10-7 would probably keep betting on the turn, especially the in position player. So I'm going to value bet against weaker 2 pairs, which can be in the range, which are going to check back, and I don't want to check call this hand against the big sizing. and we have an easy laydown if someone raises or jams or whatever. We can have all 8x in clubs ourselves, jack x in clubs in ourselves, and I would certainly also mix in some smaller bets. And yeah. And basically targeting all their weaker two pairs, which are never going to bet but always going to call. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 reshoving stacks, so pretty sweet slow play here with ace king off. Of course, you sometimes have to sacrifice some equity. I'm going to call the queen jack off. If they open raise, I'm probably, there are two stacks that could, first of all, they're both very aggressive. So I'm probably going to flat call here. I mean, usually I would always 3-bet call, but I think, let's say 50% of the time you flat jacks here in this spot and you 3-bet. Because if you think about your flatting range and your 3-betting range, right? You 3-bet all the strong pairs. Maybe you mix in some traps, but it's not going to be enough. Like, you can't defend properly if they rejam on you. I'm just going to bet very small here. I mean, we just have to hope he makes some sort of move, or I don't know. It's really tough to get value unless he has 7. Yeah, just going to bet sizing where I think he might even be value jamming an overpair. Ace 10 off. What is the starting stack here? 25k. Yeah, we have to call it off. Sucks though, of course. He called with ace high. Decent outcome. I'm gonna reshove here. I think he's going to open a ton of hands. Oops, this is a misclick. That's very unlucky. So basically, if you think about your 30 to 40, or let's say 25 to 40 big blind flatting range, and you just flat all these suited broadways, right? And you occasionally have the aces or kings as a trap. It's just not enough. And this is why you should play extremely aggressive when people flat with these deck size, because they always get it in with 10s plus and ace queen plus, but they're gonna get in trouble against squeezes. And so for that reason, you should be playing, first of all, very aggressive from the blinds, and second, yeah, basically playing very aggressively from the blinds, but also when they 3-bet, be very, very careful from the blinds, because the range is stronger than it is supposed to be. You should also be actually rejamming some hands like Queen Jack, Jack 10 suited here. So then your call fold gap isn't that high, and your range is also much stronger against the preflop aggressor. Otherwise, it's too weak playing post flop, and it's also very susceptible against squeezes. Okay, here we are on the bubble. Easy call. That's of course no 10, no 9. Thank you. An interesting rejam. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of it. This is close. This guy is very aggressive. Could probably easy reshove any ace here. Against this guy, he also has a very high raise first in. So far, I mean, it's alright. Yeah, my range would be ace jack off, I would snap call. Ace 10 is very close here. Yeah, I think it just has too much equity against all his broadways, lower suited aces. Definitely a very close spot. And since he's the recreational player, he will probably slow play sometimes aces and kings, make a small 30-bet to induce. So yeah, now we have a nice stack in the Sunday Super High Roller. Alright guys, I'm gonna jump into the break and then see you in 5 minutes.